Dear Diary, today is August 22nd, 1997. The events of a week ago have proven that the adults in this town obviously don't know anything, or they just don't care that someone was murdered. There has to be a way to get to the bottom of whatever this is. I was thinking, what if students, kids, are more willing to talk? I might be wrong, but if I'm going to be a detective, I need to think of all the factors and test all my theories. Interacting with my peers this way might be the best way to start. Everyone seems determined to ignore me, so I've set up a box with a brief description of what I've noticed in the art classroom. It's usually empty, so my classmates will have the opportunity to submit anonymous accounts, stories. I don't know. I'll think of something. Anyways, hopefully people take advantage of it. Miss Galantine was actually surprisingly supportive. Every other adult seemed super caged off about everything involving the murder. But when I explained it to Miss Galantine, she seemed, relieved. She talked about creative expression and how badly I seemed to need it, like she was offering some sort of therapy. She even said I should decorate the box, let out my inner demons or something. Whatever, not the point. Jesus, I'm spilling my guts to a tape recorder. Again, I need to get a life. Anyways, I'm gonna place this in the classroom tomorrow and hope someone bites. I did not decorate the box. Someone bit. Someone submitted something. Oh my god. Okay. Calm down. Serious now. We're serious. And professional. Dear Diary, today is August 29th, 1997. This is eyewitness account number 1. Something is happening in this school, and I can't deny it any longer. It's becoming increasingly evident over the past couple of days. It's been plaguing my classmates and I for a while now. Whoever left this box is a loser and needs to get a life. That's where it ends. Okay, whoever left that is probably just some jerk who is unfulfilled in their own life. Actually, you know what? It was probably her. Somehow figured out I was doing this and decided to have a little fun. That's gotta be it. Someone's gotta care about this, right? Someone submitted again. Let's hope it's better than the last one. Dear Diary, today is September 1st, 1997. This is eyewitness account number 1. I'm going to spare my future self the details of what is on this paper, but it's a poorly drawn private part from a boy. God damn it. We have another account, or maybe an account, if the recent couple of days are anything to go on. Dear Diary, today is September 3rd, 1997. Look, I just want you to know, whoever set up this box is, really weird. Royally weird. Super ultra mega weird. Okay, here we go again. Wait, there's more. But something, awful happened to my boyfriend, and I tried telling someone about it. Our parents, the police, hell, even the medical professionals who treated him. But everyone seemed to tell me I was crazy. And that's not normal, right? It's not normal to have your boyfriend... Sorry, I'll start at the beginning if you're trying to do an investigation thing. I met my boyfriend in our freshman year of high school. Okay, I didn't need to hear about it that far back. Here we go. Met freshman year of high school. He was always really big into running. When I met him, he had just gotten into the JV track team. Even when he was his adorable, scrawny 15-year-old self. Yuck! He was very athletic. He always took care of himself correctly, too. Always made sure to have a huge amount of water on him every day, and always fed himself well. That's partially what I love about him so much. He's never cared about my weight or what I ate. He only cared about whether I was healthy and happy. I used to be into, really toxic guys, which meant I wasn't used to this kind of treatment that he offered me. Oh my god, this girl has issues. Anyways, he always made sure to take care of himself. However, at the start of our senior year, so a couple weeks ago, his family decided to get some house renovations done while the school year was still fresh, so he wouldn't be super disturbed with his schoolwork. However, they had to close off the house, meaning he didn't have access to the same amount of food and water he usually has. He had cross country while this was happening too. Every day that week, he would come to me completely exhausted and beat down from practice. Not to say that he wasn't drinking water or eating, it just seemed like a lot less than he usually does. Having that abrupt of a change in his schedule, it really affected him. He would collapse in my arms, and it kind of hurt to see him like that. I knew he wasn't, dying or anything, but he was weaker than usual, and that hurt. I would run my fingers through his hair, kiss his head, tell me to be alright, and that he's still amazing. Oh, God. That all pass and get better once his house finishes. Last week was supposed to be the week the renovations were finished, but due to complications, it was delayed another week. He was super frustrated, and he doesn't take care of himself when he gets frustrated. On top of that, he threw himself into cross country even more, working himself to the point of exhaustion, like, every day. He wouldn't even let me comfort him anymore. I barely saw him. He was either running or sleeping. It put a strain on our relationship. He barely even talked to me after that point. We used to go on weekly dates every Wednesday, but we didn't even do that. He told me that if he didn't have practice, he'd still need to run. That's not the weirdest thing, though. Look, on that Wednesday, I was really, really angry at him, okay? So when he canceled his plans on me, I ignored him the rest of the day. Call me childish all you want, whoever you are. Wait, why do I care? You're probably a freshman. Okay, well, I'm a sophomore, so rude. Whatever, she just needs to get to the point. Anyways, I didn't hear from him the rest of the day. He didn't even bother to call, and to be honest, I was considering breaking up with him. A couple hours passed, but around 12-ish, I heard a knock at the door. It honestly scared the hell out of me. It was just a frenzied knocking, over and over. When I opened the door, my boyfriend was standing there on my porch, leaning against the surrounding walls as a source of support. I almost burst into tears when I saw him. He looked so frail. He was ghastly pale. My boyfriend was never the most tan guy, but seeing him on my doorstep, he looked like a ghost. He was clutching his arm, and when I looked, there were multiple puncture wounds, streaming blood. He looked absolutely traumatized. He barely managed to mutter hello before passing out on my doorstep. Obviously, I called 911 when he got there, and my boyfriend had a couple doctors rush to his side to help, and they obviously provided treatment. He woke up around an hour later, and at the same time, doctors came in to ask some questions, standard stuff. My boyfriend had apparently been walking home from cross country when it happened. I'd been telling him all week that I didn't think it was a good idea for him to be walking home alone due to his exhaustion, but he insisted, claiming it was a good cool down, and I just didn't understand. It had been a really hard day for him. He had felt awful about canceling on me, and instead of talking to me about it, he threw himself harder into his running. And he also ran out of water. Needless to say, he was already seconds from passing out while he was walking, just from him overworking himself. My boyfriend lives near the church. It's around a 20-minute walk from the school, so he had a long way to go while suffering from dehydration and exhaustion. While he was walking, he heard weird noises from the trees around the church area. I mean, the church has always been the weirdest part of this town, always looming and always watching. So my boyfriend was alert while he was walking and didn't miss the strange human sounds. He passed the church, and he told the doctors that he saw shadows as he did so, following him through the trees. This is the point where the doctors stopped listening. I don't mean physically listening. They were there in the room. They were technically paying attention. They could hear his voice loud and clear, but there was a shift in the way they looked at my boyfriend after that, like he had lost his mind. They looked at him with that condescending, pitying disbelief parents use when their child tells them there's a monster under their bed or in their closet. That sounds exactly how the chief acted, like I'd lost my mind. He kept going, though. He told them that when he was 5 minutes away from his house, they jumped out of nowhere from the surrounding trees. They wore long, dark cloaks, like the stereotypical cult members you see in corny horror movies. There were 5 at once. He was way outnumbered. Like I said, my boyfriend's an athletic guy, but he was exhausted and outnumbered by 4 people. He was powerless. They held him down, bruising him and scraping his skin from its contact with the sidewalk. Looking back on it now, I remember how huge it was, coating his lower left leg and his blood streaming from the cut, but I was more focused on the unnatural puncture wounds on his arm. When he was knocked out and restrained, the 5th member who wasn't holding him down held out a syringe. They started wildly stabbing his arm until it landed, and they started drawing blood, a crazy amount of blood. My boyfriend said it was like they were trying to drain him, just like the body I saw on the tree. He said he was losing control from the insane blood loss and exhaustion, but he managed to land a blow on one of the members who was holding his feet. He was stunned, and my boyfriend kicked him off and returned to his feet. He then recalled headbutting the person who held down one of his arms, knocking them to the ground. I saw the doctor begin to write notes at that bit. I guess I should have been relieved, but seeing the doctor do that, it just made me feel more anxious. He said that he managed to sprint into the surrounding woods after that and blindly weaved himself through the trees. His attackers followed to the best of their abilities, but my boyfriend was just faster, even on the brink of death. He said he half-consciously wandered the neighborhood and found my house. Up to that point, he had only been running on adrenaline, so when he stopped running, he passed out, and that led us here. The doctors were extremely quiet after his story, awkwardly exchanging looks between one another. They asked me to leave the room. I wanted to fight them on it, to tell them they're crazy to think I'm leaving his side right now. But then he looked at me, and he looked so tired. He nodded his head slightly, as if quietly telling me it was okay, and that he would tell me everything after. I nodded back and left the room. My boyfriend stayed true to his word and told me everything that happened when I left. The female doctor apparently rested a pitiful hand on my boyfriend's own. She looked at him with the same brand of pity she had throughout the entire story and asked if he had a history of mental illness in his family. When he answered no, she hummed slightly and released her hand to write in her notebook. She said that because of his dehydration and exhaustion from the heat and lack of food, he hallucinated the attack, and his extreme blood loss was actually from the large scrape on his knee. When he told me this, I was furious. They didn't even try to explain away the puncture wounds. They just sat there and looked sorry for him. They discharged him a couple hours later. I tried to talk to my mom first, see if there was anything she could do to try to contact the authorities to explain this in a way I could understand that didn't totally diminish my boyfriend's story. When she said the exact same thing the doctors did, I went to the police myself. They said the exact same thing. I was about to give up. Then the other day I was leaving for home when I saw 2 boys sneaking in and leaving papers in this box in the empty art room. They were laughing about something and then ran out. I was obviously curious, so I went in to check and I read your description of the other kid's body. In that drain description, it just felt so similar to what almost happened to my boyfriend. So if you can help, please get to the bottom of this. And it ends there. I don't know where to start. I'm happy? Is that an evil thing to say? I mean, I just read about a guy getting jumped by a bunch of weirdos, but I'm just really happy that someone seemed to care about this the same way I do. The act of draining the victim does really coincide with what I saw with the other body. Maybe that's a pattern in this case? I'll need more accounts to actually pinpoint that. I hope more come. In the meantime, I have a math test I need to study for. Signing off.
Hi everyone, our writer for this episode was Tobi H. Our voice comes from Clover N for Eden. This episode was produced and edited by Corde G and Clover N. We really hope you enjoyed our 3rd episode of Blackwater. We hope you will tune in May 31st for episode 4 on Spotify and YouTube at mi_Lotus Valley. If you're eager for extra content, you can check us out at our YouTube and our TikTok, again, at mi_Lotus Valley. Thank you so much for listening, and again, please come join us on May 31st for the release of episode 4 of Blackwater.